It took very little time for the top NFL free agents to fly off the board.
This isn't a rebuild move. This is the retool move.
Yeah.
Like, now we could start working some of our offense through the run game. That's the kind of player Kenneth Walker is.
I think so.
With most of the free agents finding new homes so quickly, let's dive into which players will shine with their new teams and which ones will flop. Shine, Kenneth Walker III. 4 weeks after winning their first championship ring and Super Bowl 60 MVP honors, Walker agreed to a 3-year deal with the Kansas City Chiefs worth $43.05 million. It's a mild surprise that the Seattle Seahawks didn't work harder to retain their Super Bowl 60 hero, but if you're the Chiefs, you owe them one giant thank you basket for letting Walker hit the open market. Kansas City hasn't had a 1,000-yard rusher since 2017 when Patrick Mahomes was a rookie backup to Alex Smith. But now, Walker becomes the most talented running back Mahomes has ever had. And certainly, it's Andy Reid's best since prime Jamal Charles. Walker should fit perfectly in the Chiefs' offense, too. With teams having to respect the passing game again, there will be plenty of holes for Walker to exploit, especially if defenses continue to play too high shells against number 15. Flop, Odafe Oweh. The Washington Commanders have holes all over the roster, so it was a bit of a surprise to see them hand a 4-year, $100 million deal to former Los Angeles Chargers edge rusher Odafe Oweh instead of spreading that money around multiple positions. Oweh has never been a superstar, with only one season of double-digit sacks on his resume, and yet the Commanders are paying Oweh like he's a multi-time Pro Bowler. And to his credit, Oweh took off after joining the Chargers in a trade last season, recording 7.5 sacks in just 12 games. But I mean, asking Oweh to post similar production on a new team with a completely different defensive scheme is very risky business. Contract just makes very little sense, and the fit does not look so hot on paper. Shine, Mike Evans. Evans seemed poised to finish his career with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers after signing a lucrative 2-year extension in 2024. Just when everyone thought that he would chase another ring with a contender like the Chiefs or Buffalo Bills. But after missing most of the 2025 season with injuries, Evans and the Buccaneers made the difficult decision to split. He then signed a 3-year, $42.4 million deal with the San Francisco 49ers in free agency. The term may seem generous given that Evans is entering his age 33 season, but the price is very fair for a future Hall of Famer with 11 1,000-yard seasons under his belt. And as one of the game's all-time great deep threats and contested catch specialists, there is no telling how much Evans could produce in a Kyle Shanahan-coached offense. His Super Bowl winning experience is a very nice bonus for a team that has struggled to get over that Super Bowl hump. Flop, Quay Walker. The Las Vegas Raiders have spent a ridiculous amount of time in free agency, quickly agreeing to lucrative deals with center Tyler Linderbaum and bolstering the D by bringing in Quay Walker, Kwity Paye, and Nakobe Dean. Among those big-ticket signings, though, Walker is the one who brings the most question marks. The Raiders gave the former Green Bay Packers first-round pick a 3-year contract worth $40.5 million. Hey, no offense to GM John Spytek and new head coach Clint Kubiak, but what kind of game film from Walker led them to believe that he's worth that kind of money? Walker's well-rounded game and supreme athleticism were supposed to make him the next big deal in Green Bay. Over his 4 years there, though, he graded out as an average or below-average player at Pro Football Focus. Coverage was supposed to be one of his main strengths, by the way. The Raiders have a bad history of wasting valuable dollars in free agency. Given their status as football's worst team, it's hard to think that they'll somehow unlock Walker's potential, especially if the Packers of all teams couldn't do it themselves. Shine, Romeo Doubs. Was it an overpay by the New England Patriots? Yeah, it was. Doesn't mean that Doubs won't shine with his new team, though. After releasing top wide receiver Stephon Diggs, the reigning AFC champions signed Doubs to a 4-year deal worth $68 million. We'll see how the rest of the offseason plays out. But right now, Doubs slots in as Drake May's new #1 wide receiver. Doubs had a career year in his final season with the Packers, catching 55 passes for 724 yards and 6 touchdowns. No small feat, especially considering Green Bay's pass-catching room also included Christian Watson, Tucker Kraft, Jaden Reed, and Matthew Golden. Doubs won't have to compete as much for new targets in New England's thinner wide receiver room. As an explosive deep threat who's averaged 12 yards per catch in his career, Doubs should make a very smooth transition into the Drake May-led offense. Flop, Boye Mafe. Remember when the Tennessee Titans gave Bud Dupree a 5-year deal worth $82.5 million in 2021 free agency? Everyone knew that would flop because his strong production was thanks to the Pittsburgh Steelers' star-studded defense. Yeah, it's not as big of a contract, but the Cincinnati Bengals decision to give Mafe a 3-year deal worth $60 million feels awfully similar to the Titans' boneheaded decision to pay Dupree the big bucks in 2021. Mafe had one great season with the Seattle Seahawks, notching 9 sacks in 2023. His playing time decreased significantly in 2024, and he was demoted to rotational player duties in 2025, playing exactly 50% of Seattle's defensive snaps. Well, Mafe isn't going to play with as many studs in Cincinnati compared to the Seahawks' historically good defense. The Bengals are now relying on Mafe and unproven 2025 first-round pick Shamar Stewart to lead a horrific defense finished 30th in scoring last year. Yeah, good luck to Mafe going from a useful rotational player in Seattle to arguably the NFL's worst defensive squad. Just saying, this signing has flop written all over it. Shine, Jaylen Watson. Not already satisfied enough in trading for Chiefs superstar cornerback Trent McDuffie, Los Angeles Rams GM Les Snead took it a step further by reuniting Kansas City's old super cornerback tandem. The Rams signed Watson to a 3-year deal worth $51 million in free agency. Just like that, LA's stout defense was bolstered with 2 big-time shutdown corners with a combined 4 Super Bowl rings. Watson was one of the few positives on a disappointing Kansas City team last season, allowing a passer rating of just 79. The year before, the passer rating was 75.4. The Rams are one of those teams that always seem to hit the jackpot when they make a big trade or signing. There should be no issue regaining that chemistry with McDuffie on an even better Los Angeles club. Flop, Travis Etienne Jr. In one of the biggest nobody-saw-that-coming moves, the New Orleans Saints made a big splash by signing the ex-Jacksonville Jaguars star to a 4-year deal with $52 million. This move raises far too many eyebrows for us. He may not be in his prime anymore, but a healthy Alvin Kamara is still a very effective running back. Rookie Devin Neal also showed some flashes in 10 games. And so the rebuilding Saints decided to use a large chunk of their cap space on a skill position guy that they just don't really need? Okay. Look, Tyler Shuck showed a lot of promise as a rookie, but he isn't Trevor Lawrence. Also, the Jaguars finished 6th in ESPN's run block win rate last season. The Saints finished 23rd. That's a pretty big drop-off there. Etienne is not going to have as many holes as a runner to exploit here. He basically has to put up around 1,500 yards of offense a year in order to justify this deal. And I'm sorry, but that just ain't happening in NOLA. Shine, Malik Willis. After announcing their plans to cut ties with Tua Tagovailoa, the Miami Dolphins signed the ex-Packers back up to a 3-year pact worth $67.5 million. Willis looked like a steady veteran in the games that he played with Jordan Love injured, and now he gets a chance to be a bona fide QB1. This is a lot of money for a guy with only 6 starts under his belt, but the Tagovailoa experiment has clearly run its course. And with the 2026 draft class being weak on quarterback depth, this just feels like the move that Miami had to make. New Dolphins head coach Jeff Hafley was Green Bay's defensive coordinator during Willis's 2 years there, and rookie GM John Eric Sullivan was part of the Packers front office that acquired Willis in a trade with Tennessee. So this should be a very nice transition for Willis to South Beach. He has 2 stud weapons at his disposal in Jaylen Waddle and Devon Achane, and you know that Miami will continue to add more playmakers around its new QB. Flop, Wan'Dale Robinson. After 3 underwhelming seasons to begin his career, Robinson finally had a breakout year on a lousy New York Giants team in 2025. He finished with 92 receptions for 1,014 yards and 4 touchdowns. The Tennessee Titans had bundles of cap space to use up, and they sorely needed a new number 1 receiver for Cam Ward. So we get the idea of overpaying here for Robinson, who secured a 4-year deal worth $70 million. But context really matters here. Robinson had a career year because, well, he was targeted 140 times, 7th most targets in the league, by the way. Robinson was New York's top receiver because superstar Malik Neighbors suffered a season-ending ACL tear in Week 4. With Neighbors out, Robinson had all those targets to himself, thanks to the lack of game changers in the passing game after those 2. So now, Robinson becomes the new number 1 receiver on a terrible Tennessee team with no other true game changers. How exactly is he going to produce when other teams focus squarely on him in the passing game? And Cam Ward is a dual-threat QB, not a stud pocket passer like Jackson Dart. And for those who wish to cite Robinson's familiarity with Titans OC and former Giants coach Brian Dable, Robinson's production spiked after Dable was fired with 7 games to go. They have very little doubt that Robinson will flop with the Titans. The more fascinating question is if his contract will be worse than Calvin Ridley's. But hey, which other NFL free agents will shine with their new teams? Which ones do you think will fail? Let us know in the comment section below. If you like this video and learned a thing or two, then hey, clicking the like button helps us out a ton. And you know, we really appreciate it. If this is your first time coming around to TPS though, then subscribing is a great idea because we put out videos like this every single day. But as always, thanks for watching and we'll see you guys next time.